Okay, we are live on the UdG Agora weekly hangout, except for last week. Buenos dias, buenas tardes, Tanis.
Buenas tardes.
Inate.
Buenas tardes, buenos dias. And how do you say autumn or fall in Espanol?
Oh my gosh, I knew that one time.
Invierno?
No? That's summer. Anyway, happy fall.
Yeah.
Look it up. All right. So we had a holiday last week, right?
Yeah, the Independence Day for Mexico, I think it was. Saw a few tweets about that. So thank you, participants, for including us in on your Viva Mexico tweets. And hope you guys had a great day off from the Agora and celebrated with your families and your country.
And we apologize for totally missing that when we scheduled it.
We don't know what there may be other holidays that remain as well, but we rely on you to let us know. There's a holiday on Friday.
I think we should have like a Day of the Dead thing in late October, right?
Oh, that'd be fun.
Wouldn't that be fun?
Yeah. That'd be really a lot of fun. I actually live beside a graveyard, and we actually, in our graveyard, they celebrate the Day of the Dead.
It's a big party, right?
They tend to be a bit more less party atmosphere in our graveyard. It's more go visit the ancestors a little bit, and it's more subdued. But it's sort of fun for people to go.
But I've always understood it as celebrating the life of those who've passed, rather than mourning their goneness.
Yeah, we definitely don't do it the Mexican way. It's a little more somber and dark.
We are boring.
Boring Canadians up here, that's for sure.
So what's going on this week? How's the Agora looking, you guys?
I'm impressed with the amount of implementation plans. Your implementation plans are nicely thought out, and they have the right amount of detail. And I continue to see really interesting things coming through on Twitter. So that's really what today is all about. We are waiting for Gabby to join us if she can, to talk about her hashtag that she's using with students. It looks like it's around microbiology. It's the hashtag Lacus Vida. And
fill that out.
What's that?
Fill that out, please.
Yes. Lacus Vida. Let me just see. I think it's LAKK SVIDA. And my understanding is she's in class right now, so she may be trying to join us, or she may be joining later. So we'll see if we can pull her in to this hangout and have her tell you in Spanish all about what she's implementing with her students.
What about the idea that we were just talking about beforehand, when you mentioned that she was doing this from class? I think it would be cool if we got some other professors, if they have a class at noon on Friday, why don't they bring their class in? I think that would be muy excitimento or whatever.
Okay,
like
that would be awesome if there's anybody out there who wants to actually bring in, while you're in class, join the hangout, and actually, be great if we could hear from the students how the implementation went for them. How are these challenges for them? What do they think? If you feel like you want to do that, let us know.
So, I think, I'm just finding the tag, and it's actually slightly different. It's Lacus Vida, and I'm taking a look at it right now, and I think it might be interesting. I wonder if I can screen share and show this.
Sorry to bug you, but your audio is still a little bit garbly.
I'm still garbly. Okay.
You made it.
I'm gonna go close a few things.
Okay. How are things looking in Dilo this week, Tanis?
Well, Dilo, I've been reading the implementation plans, which I thought, like I said, I think they're really nicely done and thought out. And I've really enjoyed actually watching how the professors, how you are all responding to each other as well and giving each other feedback. That's been really great to see. So the more that you do that and help each other out in Dilo, the better, because of course you can also do it in Spanish. So I think it adds a lot when it's actually you responding to other people's implementation plans. So keep doing that. It's great.
Yeah, more them, less us, or more them and us.
Yeah, yeah.
And
We're here to support you, and that's sort of that's the idea. But eventually we go away, and we really want you to continue. We want you. Some of you may continue with your triads for a couple more years, and some of you may continue with a campus community at your own location. And that's the idea, is that when we go away, this continues. And we've seen that with the UdG Agora hashtag. We see participants from the last year still tweeting and using UdG Agora as a hashtag, and they continue to be really active. So that's really good. I mean, this isn't really about doing a course and then having lots of fun and then forgetting about it. This is really about changing, long-term change, changing how we teach, changing how we think about technology, changing how we think about student-centered learning. So it shouldn't go away. It should just continue to live.
And I was just thinking as we're talking about this, that this kind of phenomenon or situation where the students, our students, which are the professors, are doing more of the work. That's exactly what we're asking them to do with their students, is to you know, move a lot of that effort and activity out onto what the students are producing and doing. So
yeah,
very meta, very meta.
Very meta, yeah. So so I don't see, I guess Gabby might be having troubles trying to connect with us. This is, and so I've just sent her a quick DM, but one of the things we wanted to show you today was, there's many of you in your implementation plans who've said that you were going to get student feedback by having them tweet their feedback. And of course, at the end of all this, you have to do a report in Comparte. And as part of this report, you need to summarize student feedback. So if your students are tweeting their feedback, how do you do that easily? And there are some tools that you can use to curate or to gather these tweets that you can then put into your reports. So we thought that it might be helpful to show you some of those so that you're a little bit more prepared when it comes to summarizing student feedback and collecting all that.
Right, because I mean, Twitter is like social media. It's all in the know. I just got a DM from Gabby. Ya estoy.
Okay, so she needs to click the link, I guess, and jump in.
And while you're juggling that, I just tweeted out a link to a Storify where we're going to actually walk the talk of aggregating, curating, and making sense while we do it. So if it looks like I'm not paying attention to the camera, it's because I'm paying attention to my screen.
Yeah.
And I'll just keep building that as we go. Right now I'm just gathering tweets, but if there's other stuff, we can put that in there as well. And the thing that I really want to emphasize with what you said, Tanis, which is, it's not, aggregating alone is not enough to really move the learning forward. It's curating, which means thinking about what matters towards our learning and then making sense of that. So curating is part of the sense making, but that's really for the person who's doing the curating. And we really want the students and their professor to do the sense making as well. So that may indicate that you want to do an activity back in your classroom looking across the material that you've aggregated and having the students make sense of it. You know, when we first started tweeting, the quality of the materials we were producing was X. When we finished, it is Y. Or what did we learn? Because that's really the piece that has to sit on top of all these cool tools. So as we look at the cool tools, we still have to think about how it makes sense in the learning, if that makes any sense.
Totally makes sense. And you might consider the tweets as kind of raw material, of which there are a lot. And so looking at a lot of raw material doesn't necessarily help you do that sense making. So I'm going to do some screen sharing and am going to work through 3 different of many possible tools that you can use. These are ones that we have used for the project, and also that other professors last year used in their work. So I'm switching over to my my little set of tabs here. And, got my window set up. So there is, as many professors are using hashtags, we were very pleasantly surprised last year because Twitter was very new to people that so many of them adopted. And we tracked over 120 different course hashtags that were set up. So one thing that we want to do this year, as professors are starting to use hashtags, is I set up this Google form for what is your hashtag, so we can just collect that data and build a spreadsheet that has all the different hashtags that professors are using. So we ask you only for your name, and if you just want to use first name, that's fine. Your Twitter name, the hashtags that you're using. Many of you are using more than one, and just tell us a little bit about how it's being used. And we will take this information and build a spreadsheet on it. One of the tools I'm going to show you is this one called Twitter Tags. And it's really interesting. It's developed by a very smart man in England named Martin Hawksey. And it's a Google spreadsheet, so it's free to use, that can be set up to automatically not only archive all the tweets from a hashtag in the spreadsheet, but it presents some summary statistics and does some interesting visualizations. So there is, for each of these tools that I'm going to show you in the UdG Challenge Bank, there is a challenge for doing this Twitter tags activity. And all these tweets will be going out, and Nancy is storifying it as we go. But this explains how to set this up. And then like we did in face-to-face in June, if you do one of these hashtags, we hope you add it as a response so we can see who is using the Twitter hashtag. So to give you a sense about what it looks like, this is one that I created to track all the activity in the with the UdG Agora hashtag. And actually, I am doing a search on hashtag UdG Agora or the Twitter account that we're using, because I have 2 different things that I'm tracking. So this is the setup part of the sheet. Hey, there's somebody there. Oops, somebody's calling me, I think. Tanis, if you're there.
Sorry. Yes.
I think Gabby's trying to call me.
Yes. She said they connected, but they couldn't see.
Oh, it sounded like the issue Nancy was having, right?
Mm. Oh, Nancy's muted.
Nancy's muted.
I go into my Gmail and look at the little, I click on the little Hangout green bubble, and then have the Hangout invitation come out in my Gmail, click on that, and then I can get in. I can't get in from the straight URL anymore for whatever reason. Live and learn.
Or maybe if you can
Did you hear this?
if you can get her, if she has a Gmail address, you might be able to send her an invite.
Okay.
Through the Google
I closed my browser, my Gmail, so you might do that, Tanis, because I was closing like crazy.
You can tell this is a live show.
It's live.
So what you're seeing right now is I'm still doing this demo, and we will hopefully get Gabby on towards the end of the show here. The tags worksheet, this is making an archive of every tweet that we are searching on. And so this is, again, the raw material, but you can see it includes the date, It's got other things. It actually indicates the language of the person who tweeted. That's information that Twitter provides. A lot of information, but that is not as interesting to look at as it creates a summary. So this shows who is most active. And look, Turismo UdG, no surprise, has tweeted 153 times. And so this gives a sense about how many links have been shared with this, how many retweets, how many tweets total, a whole lot of interesting information, including this thing called Tags Explorer, which to me is the most interesting thing. This is a visualization of all the Twitter activity that is going on around our hashtag and our account. And the lines represent connections, meaning if you replied to someone's tweet or if you mentioned someone else. So it's kind of visualizing the behavior of this network. So we can see some people out here on the outer fringes haven't done quite as many, but if it kind of moves around on me. So if I can grab Laura. So this pulls up Laura's tweet activities within this hashtag that we're tracking. So this can actually let you see the activity of one person, how many replies people have done to her, how many times she's been mentioned by others. And what's really interesting, if you do this replay tweets, it actually plays back almost as a timeline. You can watch like the development of her connectivity with other people in this network. And I think this is fascinating. And so this again gets you beyond just saying, here are all the tweets my students did with a hashtag, to actually possibly be able to analyze and maybe make some interpretations about what a highly connected student is versus a student who is not, or that there are different kinds of ways of being connected. So I helped Roger set up one for his class, for his tag, Composición ARK8. I think he has, yeah, he has a general tag, and then he has 3 different group tags. So he has 4 of these worksheets, so he can separate the analysis. So this one is just getting started. So there are only a handful of tweets, but again, you get this view of the activity. This is the dashboard and the summary. So he can come into here and very quickly see which of his students have been more active than the others. So the Twitter tags, to me, is one of the most valuable things. I would set this up as soon as possible when doing a hashtag, because it can only get tweets from the previous week because of the limits that Twitter puts on it. So if you want help with this, try the challenge, contact me, ask in Dilo, and hopefully people who are doing Twitter hashtags with their students will start collecting data like this. How are we doing? I can't see what's going on.
Is that working?
Hola.
I see her.
Hola, Tanis, estoy aquí con mis alumnos.
Así. Gaby. Hola.
¿Cómo está?
Hola.
Los tengo así, ¿no?
Hey,
Los alumnos.
estudiamos.
Hey.
Hola.
Estamos conectados. Muy bien. Muchísimas gracias. Tenemos problemas con la liga y las invitaciones, pero bienvenidos.
Buenas tardes. ¿Cómo está?
Están todos los alumnos y que están haciendo los twitters con hashtag La caca es vida. y quieren compartir lo que han aprendido y cómo les ha servido esta actividad en su aprendizaje de microbiología y parasitología.
Muy bien, ándale.
Bueno, pues ha sido una actividad diferente a como se utiliza en otras materias. Algo muy interactivo y nos ha ayudado a compartir el conocimiento con otras personas.
Necesitan...
como nosotros utilizamos mucho estos medios, pues nos facilita todavía más la comunicación. Además, que es como una manera de reportar lo ya aprendido, porque pues es algo más práctico. Además de que pues, son actividades divertidas, más que nada.
Brooklyn, Brooklyn.
Tratamos de poner cosas como un poco más divertidas para aprenderlo de una manera más sencilla y que no se nos haga tan aburrido.
Aprenderte.
Sí, además que, o sea, las personas que no conocen de esto, pues tienen la oportunidad de entenderlo de una manera práctica y gráfica. O más que entenderlo, pues tratar de buscar el tema.
El buscar artículos científicos.
El tratar de relacionar las teorías con lo que se ve en la vida cotidiana también.
Ándale, ando diario.
Bueno, también yo considero que es la manera más fácil de reafirmar los temas concentrando la información en pequeños mensajes para no estar aprendiéndote o macheteando la información.
Yeah.
Y yo digo que es bueno en el aspecto de que pues ninguna otra materia te ha dado como esta facilidad de transmitir la información por medios sociales y es la primera vez que yo uso Twitter. Entonces, muy cool.
Ok, lentamente, más una vez.
Es que tenemos un poco problemas con el sonido, pero para los hispanohablantes creo que es más fácil entender. Entonces, para los otros profesores en la UdG Agora es más fácil, creo. Pero, Gaby, maestra, ¿puedes explicar un poco lo que hiciste con tu grupo para explicar a los otros profesores que están escuchando este Hangout? ¿Cuál era la actividad que hiciste con los alumnos en Twitter?
Bueno, ellos han estado, revisamos un tema específico de parasitología y entonces ellos revisan en el internet, en sus libros, en sus dibujos, hacen memes o toman algún ciclo biológico o alguna fotografía de la calle, algo que pueda relacionarse con el tema que vimos en el día, de tal manera que ellos refuerzan el conocimiento que han adquirido en el aula, lo que han leído antes de venir a clase, ir con otros lectores del Twitter o seguidores de Twitter esta información.
Muy bien.
Otra cosa que realizamos fue una liberación de estructuras. Desarrollamos una situación de un brote epidemiológico de cisticercosis cerebral en la comunidad y se dividieron los equipos, el grupo se dividió en equipos y cada uno tomó el papel del gobierno, de los médicos de salud, de la comunidad, los medios, la prensa, los estudiantes universitarios y la Secretaría de Salud, la comunidad, y para ver qué hacía o qué hace cada uno de los diferentes actores sociales en referente al problema de salud que está en esa comunidad. Fue una actividad muy interesante, la grabamos, la vamos a subir a YouTube y también la vamos a subir a Dilo para que lo expliquemos mejor.
Wow.
Estudiantes, cuando ustedes hacen esta actividad, ¿tienen sorpresas? Digo que I'm speaking Portuñol again. My Portuguese, Spanish. Any surprises from what you discovered?
Discover what?
Well, as they used these methods for learning, cuando ustedes usaron estos métodos de aprendizaje, ¿tienen sorpresas?
Tenemos reglas para usos para estos métodos de aprendizaje.
Es más, la pregunta es más, ¿cuáles eran las sorpresas en la actividad que hiciste con los alumnos en las estructuras liberadoras?
También con los YouTubes o otras cosas.
Pues nos dimos cuenta, bueno, voy a dejar que los alumnos digan qué descubrieron ellos al hacer esta actividad.
Ok.
Bueno, aunque nosotros no estamos al 100% en el área de salud todavía, me refiero a la parte de gobierno, ya podemos relacionar y darnos cuenta qué es lo que está pasando y por qué hay tantas fallas en nuestro sistema y cómo no se puede atender a toda una comunidad, a todos los pacientes. Eso es lo que ya nos estamos percatando aún más de esta situación.
Porque también consideramos que el apoyo del gobierno hacia los recursos para poder tratar a los pacientes es mínima. Y también que la comunidad no está muy bien con los temas, puede malinterpretar y no busca información en fuentes confiables.
Y además nosotros como estudiantes podemos compartir los conocimientos que estamos adquiriendo en la clase con las personas que están a nuestro alrededor, como nuestros familiares, vecinos o demás personas que nos rodean.
En muchas ocasiones los medios de comunicación alteran la información, no solamente dan lo que a ellos les conviene y no realmente la que la comunidad ocupa.
Otra sorpresa, tal vez que no era tan sorpresa, era de que supimos realmente cómo es que los brotes afectan a una comunidad y qué es lo que hace el gobierno ante esta circunstancia. Pues bueno, también nos dimos tratar desde a lo mejor nuestro punto de vista, cómo vemos nosotros los problemas sociales en cuanto al gobierno. Observamos muchos problemas. Hicimos como muchas parodias sobre la situación actual de nuestro país y pues que tenemos problemas que sería posible, no sé, tal vez buscar una manera para solucionarlos o simplemente pues observar.
Bueno, pues principalmente entrar en el gobierno y cada una de las instituciones y pues tratar de pensar como ellos, pensar qué harían en la situación de una epidemia y en realidad también como hacer una síntesis de qué debería de hacer y cuáles son las fallas en los sistemas. Desde el punto de vista en que hicimos la actividad, o sea, tomando los roles como gobierno, como comunidad, como Secretaría de Salud, nos pudimos percatar que, pues, aunque es un problema que le compete a todos, siempre estamos como echando la culpa al gobierno, o la comunidad es el culpable, o la Secretaría de Salud dice que el gobierno no le da los recursos, y así, o sea, es como la bolita que va pasando de comunidad en comunidad, y pues realmente no se está resolviendo el problema, sino solamente se está como postergando.
También, estando ya en nuestro papel, nos dimos cuenta que, pues a veces, aunque el gobierno brinde el dinero necesario a la Secretaría de Salud, pues estamos en un país en el que hay pues corrupción y hay veces que no llega lo suficiente para las comunidades y por lo tanto, pues a veces no se hace público. por ejemplo, todo lo que necesita saber la comunidad para erradicar pues algún problema de salud.
Y pues identificamos 3 factores principales, que era lo que, o es lo que promueve este tipo de problemas sociales. Principalmente es la falta de conocimiento por parte de la población, la falta de recurso otorgado por parte de las instituciones a las que se les o les debe de importar este problema, y pues dentro de nuestro papel como estudiantes que nosotros podemos hacer mucho más por el bien de nuestra comunidad y no simplemente pues hacer como ese tipo de actividad donde solamente estamos exigiendo a las autoridades que hagan más, mientras que nosotros como estudiantes dentro del área contribuir a la sociedad otorgándoles información clara, concisa sobre lo que es el problema a tratar.
Bravo, Gaby. Muy buenas reflexiones de todos los alumnos y creo que eran actividades muy interesantes y es fácil, es increíble entender a los alumnos también, y muchísimas gracias porque están tan interesantes para nosotros también saber cómo fue las actividades con los alumnos y qué son los resultados que... bueno, es muy padre, gracias.
Yo tengo más una pregunta. Mi última pregunta es, esos alumnos quieren revoltar para ¿cómo se dice? Old. How do you say old?
Quieren
Antigua
maneras
de aprender o gustan esta manera abierta y colaborativa.
Yeah. Tenemos un problema con el sonido de Nancy. Nancy sound is really bad, so.
Repeat it.
Sí, la comunicación se corta.
Yeah, I'll say it in English if you don't mind, or Nancy, if you can say it in. Oh no, I'll say it in English because your sound is really bad.
Is this better?
No, it's really scratchy. So I'll say it in English and then I'll try and say it in Spanish. But the question is, would you like to return to the old way of doing things? Was this a good activity? Was it a good new way of doing an activity, or would you prefer to go back to the old way? ¿Sí entienden? O puedo traducirle también la pregunta. Es que ¿cómo
se corta la comunicación?
¿Se corta? ¿Se corta? Ok. Y ahora sí, está bien.
Sí.
Sí, ya.
Y, do you want to go back to the old way of doing this activity, or do you like this new way of doing the activity?
La nueva.
Mm-hmm.
Somos muy fan de en una silla. Ajá. Más interactivo.
¿Pueden hablar en inglés? Quieren la nueva manera de aprender y de estudiar. Es más activa, interactiva, didáctica, divertida.
Nos divertimos mucho haciendo la actividad de rompiendo barreras. Fue algo entretenido porque aprendimos y además nos reímos.
I think it's unanimous.
Mm-hmm.
La nueva manera de llevar a cabo las actividades es una manera muy sencilla, bastante divertida, y un momento en el que muy tediosa la clase.
Rule.
We think that activity is not boring to learn that kind of parasites, and it's more interactive for us to learn that way.
Yo también.
We agree.
Don't be shy.
Van a realizar otra actividad que es hacer unos flyers y luego van a ir a una comunidad en escuelas primarias para llevar información de cómo prevenir las parasitosis en su lugar de vivienda, en su área donde viven. Y van a también ellos a participar en los flyers que van a hacer. El referente también a los parásitos. Y van a hacer un pequeño programa, está planeado que hagan como un pequeño programa de televisión en el que puedan anunciar a todos, a la población en general, a la comunidad, sobre la manera en que pueden prevenir contra las parasitosis. Manejo de agua, lavado de manos, van a poner excretas, las heces, cómo tirarlas, dónde tirarlas, y lavado de verduras, depositar los animales, o las excretas de los animales. Es lo que van a estar ellos realizando.
So, if I don't know if you can, is the audio okay for me to say something?
Pretty bad.
Okay.
Type it in and Tanis can.
Yeah.
Ventriloquist.
We can ask it for Nancy. I mean, Nancy has another question, but I want to say in advance, like, thank you so much for participating in this Hangout and for sharing this with us. It's so gratifying to see just how everybody is doing different things, and we love this sort of social justice part of, or this community aspect of what you're doing. It's incredible. You mix, I mean, there's technology, there's also the real people, the real communities as well. It's so important, and it's such a nice way that to see how this extends into the real community.
Thank you.
Thank
Muchas
you.
gracias. Thank you so much.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
Muchas gracias.
It's going to be interesting for all UdG Agora.
Very interesting for us. Thank you. Bravo. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Ya no suena mal.
Ah, nice.
What she
Great.
said.
Creo que.
Yeah, that's awesome. A few problems of audio there, but you know, I think that.
Ay, ¿cómo te sale?
Still there.
It's still there. That was amazing.
It really was. I mean, it's
How
so.
come we never thought to do that? That was like so brilliant.
It is. I mean,
From the source.
yeah, it's great.
Talk about having like some, something that Gabby can use to support what she's doing as a form of feedback of what the student experience is. Have them say it.
Yeah, it's great. It's really great. And I think, some of the audio and some of the students I couldn't hear, but I think even just getting a few of them so clearly is really, it's just great to hear. And I just love how this is extended to the community. I mean, it starts with Twitter, but it ends up with real activity in the community. And I think that's a really nice sort of link to, you know, what you can do with teaching and learning. But at the end of the day, you know, this is what it's about.
So can you like summarize the essence? Well, mainly for me, but I would just like to hear it again as to what she's doing with her students.
Well, what I heard, Nancy, feel free to jump in here. I heard that, you know, they did that Twitter activity that we were seeing, and they also did a liberating structure activity. It cut out when she actually said the name of the liberating structure, but so I didn't know which one. But what I gathered from that conversation is that it was really extending in this liberating structure. It allowed them to have a different kind of level of discussion about government and policy, I think, in relation to the topic. And then, of course, at the end, she was saying the last sort of step is to create a flyer, go out into communities, do a public announcement kind of thing. So it seems to be this bridging between, it starts with Twitter and these, you know, microbiology types of activities, parasites, but then it goes into a deeper discussion about government. And then there's an action component, which is, you know, doing something in the community. I mean, I think it's just incredible.
Yeah. My understanding was it went from theory to actual public health practice. Mm-hmm. And if I understood correctly, and I may not have, there's also this idea that as they're learning these social media tools as part of their learning of theory, they're also evaluating whether those tools can help carry the message into their communities. Mm-hmm. So if I understood, there seemed to be some really interesting layers.
Yeah, it was, I mean, there's so much, I think, that it'd be nice to be able to capture some of these sort of open pedagogy examples, I guess. I mean, because they really, I mean, that's very thoughtful, and I mean, what a way to do it. I mean, fantastic.
Very cool. Very cool.
Yeah.
Should I pick up the demo, or just you want to wrap?
I think, I mean, it might be helpful for some people who, I mean, I know we're all over the place today, but
it's a live show.
It is a live show. It's important to let our guests come in when they're able, especially if they're teaching in class. So, I mean, I think that's the important part. But I think if there's, you know, some time, that certainly there may be some interest to see the rest of your demo. We shouldn't just leave it. So take it away, Alan.
All right, you're very kind. Let's see. I forgot which window I had. Let's see. Here it is, the tags one. So this was a summary of Roger's tags, and then I was going to go on to Storify, which we've talked about that Nancy is using. And Storify is a tool that you log in with your Twitter account, and it allows you to create a collection of not just tweets, but anything on the web you can represent in kind of a long scrolling narrative. And the interesting thing about it is you can rearrange them, so it doesn't have to be in time order. And you can also annotate them with writing. So it's a great tool to curate not just Twitter, but YouTube, documents, websites into a collection. So it can be something professors do, but it can also be something that students do to build a little portfolio of their work. So we do, again, have a UdG Agora Challenge Bank activity. Assemble almost anything on the web with Storify. I think the example I have here is one I did last year when we did actually this topic probably as a hangout. So we have the archive as a video. We have my tweet of it. We have a link to a document on formative evaluations, some more tweets, some of the questions and resources that were shared, and then a Google document. So you can put together different kinds of things that exist on the web simply by picking and choosing them and putting them onto a timeline.
Alan, can you throw that URL so I can easily copy it into this store file, into the chat?
Yes, it was there before, I believe, but
I had to go out and come back in, so I lost it.
I got it. It's right here.
Gracias.
So I'll go back to my thing. De nada. This was one that Armando last year did. Looks like something in genetics where students were doing some memes. So in this case, this is a collection of student tweeted material. So this might be an example where you have students tweeting many things, and then Armando comes in and he pulls the ones that are most representative. So it's a collection. If it was me, I might like to see some additional kinds of media, or perhaps some commentary in between to explain them. But again, it's just wonderful that he did this. So Storify is, I think it's one of the most powerful tools to be able to pull together different materials from the web into one piece that can be shared publicly. It can be embedded into your report. It's a curation tool. The last one I'm going to talk about is called Tagboard. It does something that is kind of a dream because we exist in many social media platforms. So the idea is it can automatically collect all the activity from Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, Google+, Flickr, and Vine. So if you're using more than one social media platform, Tagboard presents a nice tool that you can use to pull that together. Again, there is, I'll get this link for you, Nancy. You got it? There is this challenge that introduces Tagboard. It explains how to set it up. You can actually find a couple examples that people did last year. So this is the Tagboard now for UdG Agora. And I'm just collecting the tweets. So the latest, you can actually see Nancy's tweets right now. And I'm logged in as the owner, so I have this extra box. So I can check ones that I want to feature. So this view is all the raw material. It's every tweet that is coming in with the hashtag of UdG Agora. When I check them off, they come over to this featured window, and this is what people will see when they first come to your Tagboard. So the nice thing about Tagboard is you can, again, curate out of a big stream the most representative materials. If I go into my settings for this Tagboard, it lets me do things like pick the images, but it lets me choose which sources I want my material from. So if I used Instagram, I would put my Instagram URL. If I had a Facebook page, I could put that in here as well. And so Tagboard, again, is a good tool for aggregating social media and then filtering the most relevant. And again, here is one from a participant last year, Alejandra, I believe it was. So these are the ones that they marked as featured material. So the best tweets that came in that they wanted to pull together into their Tagboard collection. And then that's my holding screen. So that was very quick. We will have all these links, hopefully in Nancy's Storify. And again, the important thing is being able to make sense out of a lot of different material. And it's a step beyond of having my students tweet, because if you send someone a hashtag, they're gonna have to look through many, many tweets to try to make sense of it. So these are tools that elevate your activity to a more understandable level, not only for the public audience, but it's a really good reflective activity, perhaps to ask your students to make their own Storify from a particular assignment as an artifact of their work.
So, Alan, I just realized in Storify, I'm trying to annotate one of the tweets that I did, and I realized I don't know how to do that.
There's a little, let me go back to screen share. I went through this really quickly. So I have to go into my Storify. So if I go into, let me try to find one that's not a silly.
Something that you did that's not silly?
Well, you don't want to see the Big Lebowski and DS-106 socks. So I'm going to edit this one that I showed you last year.
Okay.
So on my timeline,
Mm-hmm.
I've got right here. So if I just click right here, it opens up this little text box. So I can
Where did you click? Oh, the dot, dot, dot?
Yeah, I just clicked in between.
Oh, you clicked in between.
There's a little cursor that pulls up and says, Ken has a great headset. So you can write in between. You can, bold things and format. You can add a link, etc. To this. And also that you can rearrange. You can rearrange things on this timeline, which is kind of interesting.
No, the click in between is what I missed.
Yeah.
See, learning and act. I can't remember because there's so many tools. And sometimes I have to relearn tools like over and over again. So if you're a professor and you're seeing this, it happens to all of us.
And
it happens every day. Every day. So, unless it's a tool you're constantly using, it kind of recedes from your memory.
So I'd like to invite anybody who's watching live is to think about the highlight of this Hangout and tweet your highlight with the UdG Agora tag, and I'll add that to the Storify so we could do a little reflection right live now.
The one person who's watching, I think it might be Sarah Carolina.
Sarah Carolina.
Sarah.
Okay, Sarah, tweet. She always tweets.
Yeah.
We love her, but I think we definitely should try to find more professors to bring their students in, or their triads. The triad discussions were good too.
Yeah.
I gotta start making signs.
Okay, well, the Storify is updated as of now.
Okay.
So we'll watch the.
Here, I have cool postcards.
I didn't get my screenshot going fast enough.
Nice.
That's me.
Hold on.
That's me. That's me a couple years ago when my hair was longer. I gave up smoking too.
We should probably let these people get back to their lives.
Yeah, all one of them.
Well, I think.
Oh, I'm sorry. It's 1,000. There are 1,000 people watching.
Yeah. Eventually, there will be.
Yeah. Well, on the recording, make it shorter. So until next week, when we're going to talk about, what are we talking about next week?
Next week is more sharing of what you're doing with your students, actually.
Right. So maybe we can get some more people giving us live from their classroom. So think about that if you're viewing the recording. Maybe it's you next week with us here at the UdG Agora Hangout.
And actually, maybe Sarah wants to bring her students in next week. Sarah Carolina, because we know she's listening.
Yes, we know.
Okay. You guys take care.
We can have her share her activities with her students.
Okay, hasta pronto. I'm going to stop the broadcast.